I used to think betrayal was something that only happened in movies. The kind of stuff you'd hear about in whispered gossip or see in some cheap drama. The ones where someone cheats and the camera zooms in while the sad music plays. I used to think that wasn't real life. But I was wrong, because when it hits you, when betrayal actually walks into your living room and sits on your couch like it owns the place, it doesn't come with dramatic music. There's no slow-mo, no camera zoom, just silence. Real cold, heavy silence. The kind that creeps into your bones and won't let go. I'm 28. I thought I had my life together. Not perfect, but solid. A good job, a decent apartment, a future that felt like it was finally taking shape. And for almost 3 years, I thought I had a partner in that future. C was smart, fun, and had this spark about her that lit up a room. You meet someone like that and you think, yeah, this could be it. This might be my person. But man, people aren't always who they pretend to be. We met at a mutual friend's house party. You know those awkward, everyone brings someone things? Yeah, one of those. I was the guy with a drink in hand trying to make small talk with a circle of strangers. She walked in wearing this mustard yellow sweater that somehow didn't look ridiculous. It actually worked on her. She smiled like she didn't owe anything, and I was just gone. One conversation turned into 3 hours. We left together, got tacos. We laughed about something dumb, I can't even remember what, but it felt right. Like maybe all those failed dates and awkward hookups were finally leading to someone who made sense. For a while it was good, better than good, honestly. We'd spend weekends binging Netflix shows, cooking together, talking about stupid stuff and deep stuff, sometimes both at once. She liked red wine, I liked craft beer. She'd steal my hoodies. I'd pretend to be mad about it. We planned trips, talked about getting a dog. We even opened a joint bank account when we started saving for a house. You don't do that unless you trust someone. But then something shifted, and not in a way that's easy to describe. Not like some big dramatic fight or betrayal right out of the gate. No, it was slow, subtle, like a tiny leak in a boat. Nothing you notice at first. But eventually you're drowning. She started guarding her phone. Not in a full-on shady way, just subtle. The screen would always be tilted away when she texted. Notifications turned off. A new passcode I didn't know. At first I didn't say anything. You try to be the good guy. You try not to be that boyfriend. The one who checks her phone or asks too many questions. Nobody wants to be the paranoid, controlling guy. So I let it slide. But then came the work trips, the girls' weekends, one after another. Short notice, vague details, no pictures. She used to be all over social media when she traveled. Suddenly, radio silence. My gut was screaming at me. You know that quiet little voice in the back of your head? The one that whispers, something's not right? Yeah, that voice turned into a siren. Still I waited. Still I hoped. But then came the money. You ever have a moment where reality just slaps you across the face? It was a Tuesday, just another normal, boring Tuesday. I was at home, working from my laptop, and decided to check our joint account. Not because I suspected anything, just out of habit. We were supposed to be saving for a house. We had a whole spreadsheet laid out. Budgets, timelines, everything. I handled most of it, but she'd chime in now and then with ideas. Excited suggestions about backsplash tiles or what kind of porch we'd have. So I log in, and I freeze. $3,000 gone. One transaction, no breakdown, no memo, no warning, just poof. You know that feeling when your brain's trying to convince you you're seeing it wrong? Like maybe it's a glitch? Maybe you typed in the wrong account? That kind of denial. Yeah, I had that for a solid 30 seconds. Then the panic hit. I grabbed my phone, walked out of my apartment onto the balcony just to breathe. I told myself, stay calm, don't jump to conclusions. Maybe she paid off a credit card. Maybe it's some emergency thing. Maybe she's gonna tell me about it tonight. So when she came home, I didn't yell, didn't throw accusations. I just asked, hey babe, quick thing. Did you make a big withdrawal from our account? There's this $3K charge I wasn't expecting. She didn't even look up from her phone. "Oh yeah," she said casually. "Booked a girls' trip with M&T." Like it was nothing, like she just spent 30 bucks on sushi, and I just stood there, silent, that sick, gut-twisting feeling deep in my stomach. But I kept it cool, or tried to. "A girls' trip?" I asked, steady voice, eyes locked on her. She rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. "I didn't think I had to give you a play-by-play of everything I do." That moment right there, that's when I knew. Not just suspected, knew there was something else going on. Because here's the thing, 3,000 is a hell of a lot of money, especially when it's not your money. It's our money. Money we agreed was for our future. For that house she said she wanted. And she just shrugged it off like I was some annoying roommate nitpicking her spending habits. But I let it go. For a moment, I let it go. Told myself, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe she just needed a break. Maybe the pressure got to her. Let it slide. But my mind wouldn't rest. That night she went to bed early, said she was tired. And I sat in the living room staring at our shared account, staring at her laptop on the coffee table. Her phone was on silent, screen face down. She never used to do that. And that voice in my head, the one I'd been ignoring for months, was now screaming. So I did something I'd never done before. I went through her phone. I wasn't proud of it. Still not. But I needed to know, needed the truth, however ugly it was. And it was ugly. I opened her phone with shaky hands. She'd gotten lazy. Hadn't changed her passcode. Same one since we started dating. It felt like violating something sacred. Like cracking open Pandora's box knowing you'll never unsee what's inside. But I had to do it. My sanity needed closure. Messages, threads, dozens of them. It wasn't with M. It wasn't with T. It wasn't a girls' trip at all. It was with him, her ex. They weren't just catching up. They were laughing, flirting, reminiscing about their old memories like I didn't even exist. Booking flights, comparing hotel rooms, planning a romantic getaway, while I was out here budgeting grocery lists and dreaming about open-concept kitchens. They had receipts. It was all laid out. Check-ins, confirmations, seat upgrades. This wasn't spontaneous. This was weeks in the making. Hell, it might have been months. You know that moment when everything goes silent? Your blood goes cold, your vision narrows, and it's like the air just got sucked out of the room? That was me. Sitting there, phone in hand, reading how the woman I was planning to marry was getting ready to spend a weekend wrapped up in another man's arms on our dime. I didn't cry, I didn't yell. I just sat there, still, stone-faced, numb, and something inside me snapped. Not in the punch-a-wall way, no. It was quiet, controlled, calculated. If she was going to lie to me, deceive me, and rob me of the future we were building, the least I could do was make sure she didn't get a vacation out of it. So I waited. I went to bed next to her that night like nothing was wrong. I kissed her on the cheek, told her good night, told her I loved her, and I hated how much I meant it. The next morning, I helped her load her suitcase into the car. She smiled, gave me one last kiss, and said, "See you Sunday, babe?" And I smiled back. "Have fun." As soon as she turned the corner, I walked inside, sat at my laptop, logged into our account, and froze it. Everything, the checking, the savings, even the backup card we kept for emergencies. All of it locked. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was her. And God, the panic in her voice, I'll never forget it. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed, right out the gate. "My card's declining at the airport. I can't check in. What did you do?" I leaned back in my chair, calm as ever. "Oh, that?" I said. "I froze the account." "Why?" "Thought it was the least I could do after finding out you were using our money to go on a secret trip in with your ex." Silence. Dead air. I could hear her breathing. Heavy. Panicked. Then came the classic, "It's not what you think." I laughed. Cold. Empty. "Cut the crap, see? I saw everything, the texts, the emails, the flights, the hotel. You lied. You've been planning this for weeks." She tried to talk over me, fumbling for excuses, probably scrambling through her mental playbook of damage control tactics. I didn't let her finish. Why, May? I asked, voice low, sharp. Why would you do this? If you wanted him, why didn't you just leave me? I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered. And that's when I snapped. You didn't want to hurt me, so instead you lied, stole our money, and planned a romantic getaway behind my back? That was your plan to not hurt me? There was a pause. Then her voice hardened. The guilt disappeared like smoke. You know what? Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with saving for that stupid house, I wouldn't have felt like I needed space. There it was, the flip. Suddenly, it was my fault. I was too focused on our future, too responsible, too stable. Space, I said. You needed space, so you ran back to your ex and lied to me about it? He's just a friend. I nearly laughed again. You don't lie about friends. You don't book secret hotels and fake a girl's trip to hang out with friends. You've been sneaking around, hiding, covering your tracks. You knew it was wrong, you knew it, and you did it anyway. More silence. I could tell she was scrambling, running out of ammo, so I ended it. We're done, I said, plain and final. Wait, what? You're breaking up with me over this? You lied, you cheated, you stole. What did you think was going to happen? You can't just leave me stranded here, she shouted, panic rising in her throat. How am I supposed to get home? I didn't even blink. Not my problem. When I hung up that call, there was this eerie stillness in the room. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel victorious. I felt done. Like the final page of a book you never wanted to read but had to finish just to know how bad the ending would be. I stared at my phone for a while, half expecting her to call back. Beg, cry, throw more insults, something. But nothing came. Not right away, at least. And that was fine by me. Because the moment I froze that account, I wasn't just freezing her vacation, I was thawing out every illusion I had about us. That same day I started packing my stuff. Not frantically, not emotionally, just methodically. I'd paid more of the bills. Most of the furniture was mine anyway. We'd gotten the apartment in my name when her credit didn't cut it. Figures. I texted my buddy Mike. Need your truck and a weekend. He texted back, beer and back pain, I'm in. We cleared out the apartment in a day and a half. I left her clothes, her plants, and the fake little vision board she made of the dream wedding she said she wanted. All of it, untouched. I wasn't about to play petty games or torch her stuff. That wasn't me. I didn't need revenge. She'd already done the job for me. I left a single note on the kitchen counter. It read, You lied. You planned this. You chose him. Now you can keep him. Don't contact me. We're done. My name. That was it. No drama. No last words. Just truth. I turned in the keys, canceled the utilities, and made sure my name was off the lease. Clean break. No loose ends. Then I went dark. Blocked her on everything. Phone, socials, email, even Venmo. Because she'd used our shared savings to book her little betrayal, and I knew she'd try to find a way to spin it like I was the bad guy. And boy, she didn't disappoint. A few days later, mutual friends started messaging me. Dude, C's telling people you just left her stranded out of nowhere? What's going on? Apparently, she'd gone full soap opera, said I was controlling, that I cut her off financially and abandoned her while she was out of town. She made it sound like I was some monster who pulled the rug out for no reason. Classic. That's the thing about liars. When they lose control, they rewrite history. But I wasn't staying silent. I sent screenshots of the emails, the texts, the booking confirmations. I didn't even have to exaggerate. The truth was scandalous enough. Some of our friends were stunned. Others weren't surprised at all. Said they'd always felt something was off about her. One of her old roommates told me, she's always been a manipulator. She just got better at hiding it. The pity party she was throwing, it ended pretty quick once people saw receipts. Still, a few of her ride-or-die friends stayed on her side, called me immature, accused me of financial abuse. Please, if canceling access to money she stole for a secret trip with her ex makes me abusive, then I hope I'm the poster boy. But here's the thing I didn't expect. After it all blew up, after the lies, the betrayal, the phone calls, the move out, the gossip, there was this quiet. No more walking on eggshells. No more wondering if her work trip was real. No more fake kisses or forced smiles. Just silence and peace. I started rebuilding. I found a new place. Small but mine. I got a dog. Always wanted one, never had the freedom before. I went back to the gym, started eating real meals again, sleeping better. It's funny, man. You don't realize how much someone's dragging you down until you let go of the weight. She tried to contact me a few weeks later. Burner numbers, fake accounts, even a sob email from her friend's Gmail. I didn't read any of it. I didn't need closure. I lived it. That was the closure. Last I heard, she was crashing on someone's couch. Said the ex bailed on her halfway through the trip. Guess paradise doesn't last when it's built on lies. And she couldn't get the hotel or flights refunded. Turns out betrayal's expensive. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a little satisfaction hearing that. I did, but it wasn't joy. It was justice, karma, in debit. What I learned? People don't just make mistakes like that. They choose them. She chose to lie, chose to sneak, chose to gamble our future for a weekend with a guy she swore was in the past. And when people show you who they are, not with words, but with actions, you better believe them. Because if you don't, you'll lose yourself trying to save someone who was never holding on to you in the first place. You know, in the weeks that followed, I started noticing all the little ways I had been ignoring my own needs just to keep the relationship afloat. It's crazy how much of yourself you lose when you're busy carrying someone who doesn't give a damn if you collapse under the weight. I used to think love meant compromise, sacrifice, putting the other person first. But now I realize real love isn't supposed to feel like you're constantly negotiating peace in a war zone. And looking back, I was doing just that. Every "I'm fine" from her felt like a test. Every "I don't want to talk about it" was a dead end I somehow convinced myself was just a detour. I ignored the defensiveness, the phone tilting, the sudden mood swings. I told myself she was tired, stressed, going through something. But all the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. Why be that? That's why I did. I must because I loved her, because I believed in us, because I thought loyalty meant enduring bullshit. Let me tell you something now. Loyalty without honesty is just self-betrayal in a nice suit. I kept thinking about the guy she went on that trip with, her ex, the same dude she used to complain about early in our relationship. She once told me he cheated, lied, played games. Funny how people always go back to what they haven't healed from. Maybe she needed closure. Maybe she needed the thrill. Maybe she just wanted to feel something again. Whatever her reason, she burned a good thing to the ground for a few days of nostalgia and hotel pillow talk. And I was left standing in the ashes. But sometimes it takes losing everything you thought you had to realize what you truly deserve. I started seeing a therapist, first time in my life. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I went in thinking, I don't need this. I'm fine. But turns out I had a lot to unpack. Not just about C, but about myself, my patterns, the way I love, the way I avoid confrontation to keep the peace, even when it's at war with my own peace of mind. He said something to me that stuck. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. That hit me like a truck because I had been teaching her every time I let a lie slide, every time I downplayed my instincts, every time I accepted less than honesty, I was teaching her that I'd tolerate it. Never again. It wasn't just about her cheating. It was about how I had stopped showing up for myself. I used to write, play guitar, go on hikes, meet friends for wings and trivia nights. But with her, slowly all that stopped. Not because she asked, but because she always really had a problem with something. You're gone too much. Why are you spending money on that? Why do you need time alone? So I stopped doing the things that made me me. And that's the most dangerous kind of relationship. The ones that don't break you loudly, but erode you quietly, until you wake up and don't recognize the guy in the mirror. But now I'm finding my way back. I took a solo trip, not to escape, but to reconnect. No itinerary, no one to impress, no fake smiles. Just me, my backpack, and the open road. And for the first time in years, I felt alive. The kind of alive you don't get from someone else's approval. The kind you earn by reclaiming your damn soul. I ran into an old friend recently, someone who hadn't heard the whole story. He said, "Man, you look lighter." And I smiled. Because yeah, I am. Not because I lost her, but because I lost who I had to become to keep her. And let me tell you, nothing feels better than shedding someone else's version of who you're supposed to be. There's a quote I keep in my phone now. The cost of not listening to your gut is always higher than the price of the truth. I ignored my gut for too long, and it cost me peace, sleep, time, self-respect. But now I listen, and I walk away from anything that doesn't sit right. Friend, job, date, whatever. Because my peace, it's not up for debate anymore. I don't hate C, I really don't. I think she's just lost, looking for something she doesn't even understand yet. I hope she figures it out, for her own sake. But I'm not her rehab center. I'm not her second chance. I'm done playing lifeguard for people who jump headfirst into storms and scream for help. Let them swim. People keep asking if I'd date again. Sure, one day, but not out of loneliness. Not because I should, not to prove anything to her. I'll date when I meet someone who doesn't flinch at honesty. Someone who doesn't need to be convinced that loyalty is a choice, not a chore. Until then, I'm good. Just me, my dog, my guitar, and the freedom of finally putting myself first. The thing about healing, real healing, is that it doesn't come with some grand announcement. There's no parade, no fireworks, no light bulb moment that says, "You're over it now." It creeps in slowly. In the mornings, you don't wake up thinking about them. In the silence that no longer feels suffocating. In the laugh you let out, real and unforced, because someone made a dumb joke, and for the first time in months, you actually found it funny. That's what happened to me. It was a random Wednesday. I was walking through the park with my dong, coffee in one hand, leash in the other. Sun was out, cool breeze, and it hit me. I felt light, not fake it till you make it light, real light. I didn't check my phone hoping for a message from her. Didn't feel that sharp sting in my chest when I saw a couple holding hands. Didn't feel broken. I felt okay. Not ecstatic, not miserable, just okay. And in that moment, I realized how far I'd come. You know what's wild? The biggest change wasn't about her. It was about me. I stopped operating from fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being good enough. Fear that if I didn't bend over backwards, someone would stop loving me. Nah, screw that. I'm done negotiating my worth. I'm done handing out discounts on my peace just to keep someone around. Because here's the hard truth no one wants to admit. Sometimes love just isn't enough. You can love someone to the moon and back, but if they lie, disrespect you, take you for granted, that love turns into a prison. And I'm not doing time for someone else's lack of character. One of my buddies, Chris, he came over a few nights ago with beer and pizza, and we sat out on the balcony just talking. He looked at me and said, "Man, I'm proud of you. Most guys would have taken her back." And he's right. I had that option. She reached out, tried to explain, didn't apologize, not really, just gave her version of the story. But I wasn't interested in editing her lies to make myself feel better. She made her choice. I made mine. Chris said, "It takes guts to walk away." But it doesn't. Not really. It takes clarity. When someone burns your trust like that, when they look you in the eyes, swear they love you, and then go lay in bed with someone else, there's only one right move. You leave. People talk about closure like it's something you're owed. Nah, closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. It's waking up one day and saying, "I don't need another explanation. I don't need to hear why. I just need peace." That's where I'm at now. She could write me a novel, and it wouldn't change a damn thing. The apology wouldn't erase the betrayal. The tears wouldn't refund the years. You don't get to punch a hole in someone's heart and then cry about your scraped knuckles. So yeah, I moved on. Not with someone new, with me. I started saying yes to things again. I picked up my guitar, started writing songs again. Not heartbreak ballads, but real stuff. Honest stuff. I joined a gym. Not because I wanted a revenge body, just because it felt good to sweat, to feel strong again, to do something for me. I hit up old friends, reconnected with my brothers, went to game nights, bonfires, camping trips, laughed until my stomach hurt. I was building a life that didn't require anyone else to complete it. That's the key, right? You have to be whole on your own. Because if you're looking for someone to fill your cracks, all they'll do is make them worse. One night I was at a friend's birthday, low-key rooftop party, and I ended up talking to this woman named Layla. Nothing flirty, just easy conversation. She asked me about my favorite book. I told her. She'd read it too. We nerded out over it for 20 minutes straight. No pressure, no games, just connection. And when she smiled at me, not the fake, polite smile, but the kind that warms the room, I realized something. I was open, not desperate, not rushing, not looking for someone to replace what I lost, just open to whatever the universe had for me. That's what healing looks like. I don't know if I'll ever see Layla again, and that's okay. The point wasn't her. The point was me, realizing I could sit across from a stranger, share a real moment, and not be haunted by the ghost of a past relationship. That's freedom. I get asked sometimes, if you could go back, would you do anything differently? Honestly, no, because every lie she told, every dollar she spent, every tear I cried, it brought me here, and here is good. Here is peaceful. Here is where I learned to stop begging people to treat me right. So to anyone out there stuck in that place, questioning, hurting, wondering if they're overreacting, let me tell you right now, you're not crazy. If something feels off, it usually is. If someone shows you they don't respect you, believe them the first time. And if you ever have to go through someone's phone just to feel sane, you're already losing. You deserve more. You deserve the kind of love that doesn't make you question yourself, the kind that doesn't come with fine print and expiration dates. The break, the mirror, and the morning after. It's strange how quiet your world becomes after chaos. You expect things to stay loud, to keep crashing down, but they don't. After the storm, it's just silence, the kind that makes you think, reflect, reckon with what just happened, and what you let happen. The first few days after I cut C off, I moved like a ghost. I wasn't angry anymore. Not the burning kind of anger, at least. It was colder now, heavy, still, like standing in the middle of a frozen lake, wondering if the cracks were always there, even before the ice gave way. I had to accept something brutal. She didn't just lie to me. She didn't accidentally hurt me. She chose to. And worse, she planned it. She made hotel reservations with him, laughed at his dumb jokes in those texts, spent our money, the money we saved together, just to sneak off and pretend I didn't exist. And then she looked me in the eye every day like none of it mattered, like I wouldn't notice, like I didn't matter. You want to believe that people love like you do, that if you give your whole heart, they'll protect it. But sometimes they just take it, tear it, toss it aside like it was never worth anything. And you sit there shattered, trying to make sense of something that will never make sense. But here's what no one tells you. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you dig up from inside yourself, piece by painful piece. I blocked her everywhere. Phone, social, email, everything. I wasn't playing the maybe she'll come around game. I was done handing her the mic to narrate our story. She could tell whatever version she wanted. But my silence? That was my closure. And yeah, she tried to flip the script, claimed I abandoned her, made herself the victim. But people talk, and truth doesn't stay buried forever. Mutual friends started reaching out, some with questions, others with apologies for ever doubting me. Turns out you don't have to defend yourself when the truth walks in wearing its own shoes. Still, it wasn't about winning. This wasn't revenge. This was reclamation. I started taking my life back, inch by inch. I moved out of the apartment, took my name off the lease, canceled the streaming subscriptions, closed out joint bills, and opened a fresh new bank account with only my name on it. It was weird, honestly, like breathing in clean air after living in smoke for so long, you almost forget what it feels like to not choke. Then came the grief. the honest kind, not just for her, but for the version of me that let things slide, that ignored red flags and accepted crumbs, hoping they'd turn into meals. I had to forgive that guy. He loved hard. He meant well. He just didn't know he was loving someone who couldn't carry it. And that's not weakness. That's proof you have a heart that beats. You know what's wild? It wasn't even the cheating that cut the deepest. It was the realization that she looked at me every day and still chose to lie, still chose to walk out that door and board a plane to be with someone who already broke her once before. That's the kind of betrayal you don't forget. But it's also the kind that sets you free, because once you've seen someone's true face, you stop trying. You accept who they really are, and you walk away. Somewhere around week 3, the pain dulled. Not gone, but quieter. Like background noise you eventually learn to live without noticing. I found peace in routines, made my bed every morning, went to the gym even when I didn't want to, started cooking my own meals instead of grabbing takeout like we used to. Little acts of self-care, little declarations of independence. And then one afternoon while I was cleaning out the closet, I found an old shoebox. Inside, photos of us, movie ticket stubs, notes she used to leave in my lunchbox when we were still good. I sat there for a while, not crying, not raging, just processing. And then I tossed it, all of it, not to erase her, but to clear space for me. Funny thing is, right around the time you stop chasing closure, that's when life gives you something new. There was a girl at the hardware store, no dramatic meet cute, just two strangers reaching for the same can of wood stain. She asked me about refinishing tables. I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at fixing broken things." She laughed. I smiled, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't forced. It felt light, easy, like maybe, just maybe, healing had made room for something better. We've been on a few dates now. She doesn't flinch when I talk about my past. She doesn't try to fix it or compare it. She just listens. And I don't feel like I have to shrink myself or prove anything, because this version of me, I like him. He's honest, he's whole, he doesn't chase love. He attracts it by being exactly who he is. So yeah, maybe I lost 3 years. Maybe I gave my heart to someone who didn't deserve it. Maybe I got lied to, cheated on, and left to clean up the mess alone. But I didn't lose myself. I found him. And if you ask me, that's the best kind of comeback.